For most people, a car is simply a means to get from one place to another. In other words, anyone who has a car wants something comfortable and practical. However, a look back in the automobile industry reveals some weird car designs that you wouldn't think of driving on the highway. Welcome to Trending Tickets, and today we're going to take you on a drive in some of the strangest cars to ever grace the planet. Whether you're a car enthusiast or just simply curious, you're in for a wild ride. Starting off with number 10 is a custom design from the late 1960s. The Dodge Deora was the brainchild of car designer Harry Bentley Bradley in collaboration with customizing duo Mike and Larry Alexander, or more famously known as the Alexander Brothers. It all started in 1964 when the Alexander Brothers wanted to revamp Chrysler's newly released Dodge A100, which they considered to be aesthetically unappealing. Bradley came up with the idea of removing the phone booth cab and splicing together the upper and lower parts of the car. He also proposed removing doors altogether, and instead, entry would be through a split-door design engineered by the Alexander Brothers. Essentially, entrance through this gold-painted custom was achieved by lifting up the window of a 1960 Ford pickup that was hinged at the top and opened upwards at the front of the Deora. After 3 years of hard work, the truck was unveiled at the 1967 Detroit Autorama, where it won all the major trophies. Now, if the Dodge Deora amazed you, you'd be surprised even more by our pick for number 1. Moving on to number 9, we have an amphibian car that goes by the name of Rinspeed sQuba. Developed by Swiss company Rinspeed, the sQuba is a zero-emission vehicle that relies completely on electricity to power its 3 electric motors, 2 of which are used for water travel. The sQuba was inspired by a James Bond film that featured a similar car and uses rechargeable lithium-ion batteries for its electric rear-wheel drive powertrain. When on water, the Rinspeed sQuba floats on the surface until the driver opens the mechanism that lets water inside part of the car in order to submerge it. The sQuba can go as deep as 33 feet and is powered by twin electric propellers, supplemented by 2 Seabob water jets. But that's not the end of it. This supercar also flies underwater as if you were in a submarine, because obviously you can't drive in water. On land, the sQuba can reach up to 75 miles per hour, while on water, the highest speed that it can ever go up to is only 3.7 miles per hour. Underwater, it's even slower at 1.9 miles per hour. Going into number 8, we introduce you to the Isetta, which was a car that was designed and developed in Germany during the early 1950s. People describe the Isetta's appearance as a cross between a refrigerator and a scooter. In other words, if a kitchen appliance and a 2-wheeled mode of transportation ever had a child, that would be the Isetta. Dimensions-wise, the Isetta was 4.5 feet wide and 7.5 feet long. There was a door at the front for the driver, and the rear wheels were spaced a measly 19 inches. Needless to say, it was a tight squeeze. And if that wasn't enough, the model offered a 2-cylinder, 2-stroke engine that made it possible for the Isetta to achieve a speed of 45 miles per hour. This BMW-made vehicle was surprisingly a perfect fit for consumers whose main destinations were the grocery store and the school for their kids. To its credit, the Isetta made it easier for regular families to conduct everyday activities and became the poster child for the perfect family vehicle. It was also roomy, comfortably accommodating 2 adults and 1 child with lots of leg room to boot. At number 7 is another addition to the microcar industry by German airplane manufacturers Heinkel Flugzeugwerke. The Heinkel cabine featured an iconic bubble canopy that is common in other microcars. It could only be entered using the front of the car, which also functioned as a door. If that's not your thing, you can also try jumping in through the sunroof. Other features of this tiny car is a reverse gear that proved to be its main defining quality. Despite having a smaller engine, the Heinkel was as fast as BMW's Isetta because it was lighter in weight. Available in 3- or 4-wheel variants, Heinkel stopped car production in 1958 but sold the license to a company in Ireland called Trojan. Trojan continued supplying cars until 1965, so if you wanted a Heinkel cabine for yourself, you'd be in a bit of a pinch. Now, if the cabine amazed you, wait till you see what car wins first place on this list of oddities. At 6 on this list is another 3-wheeled number by Davis Motor Car Company. The Davis Divan was a 3-wheeled convertible manufactured between 1947 and 1949. It was completely the idea of used car salesman Glenn Gordon, aka Gary Davis, who based his design on the Californian, which was likewise a three-wheel drive built by future Indianapolis 500 auto designer Frank Curtis. The Divan didn't make it into full production and only 13, including the 2 prototypes, were created. To this day, only 12 have survived. The Divan had defining features that set it apart from other vehicles, including aircraft-inspired styling details, disc brakes, hidden headlights, and built-in jacks. And because we can't seem to get enough of these three-wheeled wonders, for number 5 we have an English automobile by Reliant Motor Company. Called the Reliant Robin, this small three-wheeled car started production in Tamworth, England, and was available in 3 versions: the MK1, MK2, and MK3. The Reliant Robin has been around for over 30 years and holds the distinction of being the second most popular fiberglass car in history. As a result, the Reliant Motor Company also benefited and became the second biggest UK-owned manufacturing business. The Reliant Robin has courted controversy as it apparently borders on the classification of being a car. Because of this, a rumor went around and said that the Robin could be driven on a motorcycle license because by some definitions, it wasn't really a car. However, the Robin won out because it was too heavy to be considered a motorcycle. It wasn't until 2001 when licensing requirements were changed and drivers of Reliant Robins were required to have a full driving license. How's that for some history? Continuing with our three-wheel theme, at number 4 is a bubble-shaped vehicle by German airplane manufacturer Messerschmitt, the Messerschmitt KR200. Production went on from 1955 to 1964, during which a total of 40,000 bubble-shaped cars were created. This bite-sized car was notable for having 3 wheels as mentioned, and also for having a huge bar for steering instead of the usual wheel that people were used to. As it was created by an airplane manufacturer, the KR200 had aircraft-inspired features such as a canopy-style roof that opened onto one side and a central-mounted driver's side. On the rear side, there was either another seat or a little bench that fit up to 2 people. Unfortunately, although the KR200's bubble canopy certainly made it unique, its position on the car's frame made it difficult for passengers on one side to enter and exit. Possibly as a result of this, succeeding bubble cars featured front or back hinged canopies for easier access. Declining demand led to a cease in production of the Messerschmitt KR200 in 1964. Moving on to number 3 on our list, we have the Stout Scarab, or the predecessor of today's minivan industry. Way before Honda Odysseys and Kia Sedonas dominated the minivan market, the Stout Scarab was created in the 1930s and was considered an innovative vehicle because it was the first ever minivan to be conceived. The brainchild of Scarab Engineering Laboratories, the Stout Scarab was equipped with several features that set the precedent for future minivans. One such feature is a card table that could be outfitted to the backseat. A 1946 prototype of the Stout Scarab was even more groundbreaking as it featured a fiberglass body and a pneumatic suspension. However, it is unlikely that you'll ever see a Scarab on the road today, as the company never intended to enter massive production. As such, only 6 to 9 Scarabs were ever made. Perhaps because of its limited number, it also became massively expensive, and one unit would cost you $89,000 in today's currency. At number 2 on this list is the Oeuf Electrique. So named for its shape, this car was designed by locomotive enthusiast Paul Arzens, who wanted to explore his interest in automobile design. The Oeuf Electrique ignores normal car standards with its unusual shape. For a car whose name means electrical egg, it was created during a time when the world was on the verge of collapse. True to its name, the car was shaped like an egg and its body was made of aluminum and plexiglass. The plexiglass was great for visibility and allowed occupant and outsider alike to see each other. Even more unusual is the fact that the Oeuf Electrique had 3 wheels and was minimalistic in its interior design. At most, the interior only had a bench over a wicker frame. Owing to these features, it's no surprise that the Oeuf Electrique was lightweight and on average had a weight of 772 pounds. In comparison, the average sedan weighs 2,871 pounds. Unfortunately, due to the scarcity of aluminum, which was a key material in the car's build, only one Oeuf Electrique was ever made. Taking the number 1 position on this list is 2010 Guinness World Records holder Peel P50. Manufactured by the Peel Engineering Company on the Isle of Man from 1962 to 1965, it is considered the smallest car to ever be made. True to its name, the PLP-50 only has space for one passenger, has one headlight and only 3 wheels, 2 at the front and 1 supporting wheel at the back. Unfortunately, the PLP-50 has no maneuvers for reverse driving. So if you wanted back out from a parking slot, you'd have to twist the handle at the rear so that you could physically do so. The PLP-50 is so small, it almost resembles those car-shaped push carts at the grocery store, so pushing it backwards would not have been a problem. Believe it or not, the PLP-50 was designed as a city car and was heavily advertised during the 1960s as capable of fitting 1 adult and 1 shopping bag. How convenient! Which of these 10 cars do you think is the strangest? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video about weird cars, you'll enjoy our other video on the rarest cars in the world. Before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Also, hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when videos like this come out.